Kia ora, I'm Erin J. Doyle. Welcome to my channel. Today I'm going to be doing the last 10 books tag. As usual, I will leave a list of the questions and a link to the original creators video down in the description below. So, here we go. Question 1. The last book you didn't finish. I'm fairly certain for me that would be Tropic of Cancer, which I was reading as part of my banned book reading efforts, I believe last year. I did discuss it in a video at some point. I think it might even have been an unhaul, but at any rate I will find it and I will link it. But essentially my problem with this book is that it's horrifically pretentious and the only characters you get any real description of are sex workers, and oddly enough the descriptions are not particularly respectful. And the combination, just particularly the words, the combination of the pretentiousness and the disrespect of female characters and the lack of any apparent plot within the section of the book that I read just made me give up on it. Number 2, the last book you reread. I'm going to assume that the last book I reread was Wild Magic because I have reread this book so many times, particularly when I'm kind of stressed. Like, I'm certain that I read it a couple of times a year while I was studying, particularly in the last year of my master's degree. I'm sure this book was constantly at least halfway through a bookmark kind of dancing back and forth as I just reread it and then reread sections of it, and yeah. I think this one has that appeal to me because, I mean, it's young adult, it's not a massive drain emotionally or mentally to enjoy it, and it's, you know, a girl who comes from nothing but turns out to have lots of magical powers and found family and talking to animals and stuff. The thing that I really did like about this book is unfortunately destroyed in the books that follow on from it. That being said though, I know someone who's a massive fan of these books, and the thing that destroys them for me is the thing that makes them for her. So yeah, I don't know if I can recommend it based on that sort of pool of possible readers. Question 3, the last book you bought. I'm not 100% sure on this one because I went to a book festival writers festival, and I bought many books over the course of the weekend, and I don't know exactly which one was last, but I think it was this one, The Soul of a Woman, which was completely just an impulse buy based on the cover and title. I didn't see the author speak, so it wasn't like a buying it in response to the event itself. It was just a "ooh, that's pretty" kind of purchase. Number 4, the last book you said you read but didn't. This isn't something that I do. I would never claim to have read something that I haven't read. I don't think I've ever been in a position where I was tempted to tell that lie, and I think that's probably for a couple of reasons. I have had a conversation once where a person was constantly referencing different books and authors, expecting me to know who they were talking about, and I had no idea, and it got really awkward with the amount of no, I have no idea, and then being like, oh, have you read this? Have you read that? Oh, I'm quite surprised. And to me that was a situation where they were lacking the social skill to recognise they were creating an awkward situation. It wasn't up to me to de-escalate the awkwardness by lying, if that makes any sense. And the other reason I wouldn't claim to have read a book which I haven't is because I think as a scientist I have to be really comfortable to admit what I do and do not know. It is a fundamental part of my job, and claiming to be familiar with something that you're not familiar with is just unethical and setting up yourself and potentially others for massive and potentially expensive failure. So I wouldn't do that from an ethical perspective. And then I also, despite now being a researcher, in my youth I did not perform well academically. I knew I was stupid like I knew the sky was blue. So admitting I didn't know or didn't understand was just a constant thing, like all day, every day. I don't know what you're talking about. So admitting that I haven't read a book doesn't feel like I've made a mistake or I've missed out on something, or, you know, people are going to judge me, because of course they are, because I'm stupid. And I think even though actually that belief in my own stupidity wasn't true, I think that created sort of a yeah whatever kind of attitude towards admitting ignorance, which is definitely paying off as an adult. I have gone off topic. Let's just go to the next question, shall we? Number 5, the last book you wrote in the margins of. Okay, the dust jacket's somewhere safe. I take dust jackets off because they just get damaged. So this is Sapiens, which I am, oh god, only just past the halfway mark of. I have written in this one probably more extensively than any other book, except possibly Dracula, and in both cases because these are relevant to research in a way, not research as in my day job. Number 6, the last book you had signed. So I actually have 2 books for this because I went to an event and there was a book signing afterwards, and I hurried over to the stand and I bought 2 books simultaneously, jumped in one queue, got the book signed, and then just took 2 steps to my right and into the other queue, which had nobody in it, so I was immediately at the front. So the signatures in these 2 books, Tōku, Pāpā and Ulwe, yeah, the signatures in these probably gained about 2 minutes apart. So it's, I figure, a draw. Even though technically this is the most recent, you know, the ink in this wouldn't even have been dry when this one happened. So there we go, 2 for 1. Number 7, the last book you lost. I don't lose books. I do occasionally loan them to monsters though, so the last book which I loaned somebody and never saw again was Diary of a Submissive, which is a memoir about a submissive. It starts from prior to her first starting to date through to her entering into a serious relationship and living with her dominant. Number 8, the last book you had to replace. That would be A Guinea Pig's Guide to the History of Biology. I made the mistake of loaning my copy to someone. They obviously perceived loan as gift, so I had to replace that one. Number 9, the last book you had an argument over. I don't know if this really counts, but the last argument I had about a book was a book that I was planning to write, where I told someone not even really the premise so much as vague genre, and their response was to literally laugh in my face and tell me not to do it. So I told that bitch to go fuck herself. Number 10, the last book you couldn't get hold of. I don't think there actually is a book I can't get hold of literally, but there is a small list of books which I'm choosing not to buy at the moment because the only place I can get hold of them from is Amazon, and I just don't want to support such an incredibly evil company. And for me there's this big dilemma because a lot of indie authors only sell their books through Amazon, and of course I want to support indie authors, but I can't support the indie author without also putting money into Amazon if that's the only platform they're selling it on. So I have an ethical dilemma there, and because I haven't found a way of resolving that dilemma at the moment, there is a list of books which I'm just not buying because of that. I can't think of the name of a specific book currently on that list, but it exists. It's saved on a Excel spreadsheet on my computer for the day that I figure out how I'm going to get around this issue of supporting one thing without supporting the very, very evil other thing. That's it for this tag. If you're interested in doing it yourself, do let me know down in the comments so I can go check out your video. If you've enjoyed my video, do give it a like, and if you're new around here, maybe consider hitting subscribe and ringing that bell so you can stay up to date, and I'll see you next time. Bye!